Hi, how's it going? I thought I would do a review video today. Why not? It's Monday. Yeah. And I've got some new comics as well, so that's pretty good going. Uh, they are all from the... Do you know, I hate to call them the big two now because I think they're not actually the big two anymore. And the independent comics companies are snapping at DC and Marvel's heels. I tell you, the stuff that companies like Image and Valiant and Dark Horse and IDW, Dynamite, and all those guys are just absolutely phenomenal. And DC and Marvel are going to have to put out some fantastic stuff to get ahead of those guys. I tell you. I've got 5 comics, so I'm going to see if I can review them relatively quickly, and by relatively quickly I mean a video under half an hour, hopefully. I do have one independent comic that I haven't read yet, and it's Great Pacific #2 from Image. So once I've read that, I'll probably do a review for that one. First up, we have Amazing Spider-Man #699. Oh, wow. It's just brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. Dan Slott is writing an absolutely wonderful chapter in the history of Spider-Man, and I don't want it to end. I don't want Amazing Spider-Man to finish it with issue 700. I will tell you now, spoiler alert, okay? Because I will tell you some stuff about this. If you haven't read issue 698, stop this video now and come back in again when you see the next comic, okay? So when you don't see any more Spider-Man comic, then come back in, okay? Right, everyone who's gone that hasn't got issue 698 or hasn't read 698 yet, I take it if you're here now, you've either got issue 698 and you've read it, or you just don't care. Right, we all know in issue 698 we found out that Otto Octavius, Doc Ock, is in Peter Parker's body. He's used he's used some fantastic way to infiltrate Peter Parker's brain and take over his body. Not only that, but he's also transported Peter Parker's mind into his old, withering, decaying, decrepit body that is miles below the ocean and in a maximum security prison surrounded by armed guards, and it's basically an impregnable prison. In this issue, we find out how Doc Ock managed to pull off the escape of the lifetime, if you ask me, the escape of the century, really. It turns out that it was, just in case anybody's out there, spoiler, it was Peter Parker's own fault. He should never have used Doc Ock's own technology to incorporate it into his own Spider-Man battlesuit. The story arc Ends of the Earth. Slowly, Doc Ock has been, like a computer virus, rewriting Peter Parker's brain, and not only that, but he has also been transporting Peter Parker's mind into Doc Ock's body. This one, we find out that it's not just a one-way system. Peter Parker can also access Doc Ock's memories, which is how he finds out how Dr. Octopus did the deed to Peter Parker and Spider-Man. There's a funny bit in there, a very funny bit, where Peter is trying desperately not to find out what happened many years ago when Otto Octavius married Aunt May. Ugh, sorry, I've never been one for grab a granny. No. But he also finds out that there is Doc Ock has got a contingency plan where he will get in contact with old members of the Sinister Six to break him out of prison, and that's what Peter Parker does. He gets Hydro Man and the Rhino and a couple of other of the old members of the Sinister Six to actually break into the maximum security prison and get Doc Ock's old body out of there. Oh, and that's where the story finished. Oh man, I tell you, I can't wait for issue 700. I really can't. I know that there's an issue 699.1, which, looking at the cover, has got more to do with Morbius the Living Vampire than anything else. But oh, this is absolutely brilliant. We also find out about Dr. Kurt Connors as well, the Lizard. We find out something about him as well, which I won't spoil for you out there if you haven't read it. Dan Slott has said that this is not the big reveal that's going to happen at the end of issue 700. This is just a taste of what could happen in issue 700. Like I said, I don't want this to end. Dan Slott is just there's been a few dodgy bits for Dan Slott stuff, but then if you've got somebody writing a story for as long as he has been for Amazing Spider-Man, you will get a few dips in the stuff that he's writing. But this has just been a phenomenal story, absolutely wonderful to read. I was on the edge of my seat reading this, trying to figure out at the beginning how Doc Ock did it. I was so tempted to quickly turn the pages, not read it, just turn the pages to the part where Peter Parker realizes how Doc Ock did it. But I refrained from doing that, and it was worth doing. It's just really reminded me how much I love reading about Spider-Man and why I love reading about Spider-Man. It has just been a joy to read this, and like I said, I don't want it to end. Am I going to get Superior Spider-Man? I think it's such a stupid title, Superior Spider-Man. Yes, the Spider-Man in that comic may be better than Amazing Spider-Man, but seriously, Superior Spider-Man? And as much as I don't want to pick up Superior Spider-Man after Amazing Spider-Man finishes, I know I'm going to, because I want to find out what happens afterwards in issue 7, after issue 700, if this has got anything to go by. If you haven't already picked this up, then what are you doing watching this in the first place? If this has whetted your appetite to want to pick this up, pick up issue 698 first if you can get it under $20, because I've seen it going for ridiculous amounts of money. Probably wait for the second print to come out. But yeah, I've enjoyed every minute of this, reading this. Brilliant. Okay, anybody who didn't see any of that, you see me waving my hands now, you can come back in now. Okay, take your fingers out your ears and all that. Open your eyes, you can see now. Alright, good. Next, we have Avengers #1. Part of the Marvel Now revolution, as it's being titled. I wasn't going to pick this up. I wasn't going to pick up any of the Marvel Now comics, but I saw them for relatively cheap, so I thought, why not? There's a reason why not. Because it's like that thing you'd see about drug dealers. They'll give you the first lot for fairly cheap, and then they'll bump up the price when you get addicted to it. Yeah, well, I'm addicted to this now. Okay, I'll admit it. I don't know if anybody else has noticed. Marvel seem to be their artwork seems to be very heavy metalish at the moment. Not heavy metal as in sort of thing, but heavy metal as in the magazine heavy metal. And no, I won't be doing that again. That noise. I don't even do air guitar. So anyway, yeah, the artwork in a lot of Marvel comics, especially for the Marvel Now, does seem to be quite European in its visual effects, which isn't a bad thing. In fact, it makes the comic look very mature, and I think that's one of the reasons why I am getting to be more in tune with the Marvel comics than I am with DC comics now, which do seem to, even though they are getting a bit darker at DC, quite a lot darker at DC, it does seem to me for somebody who's been reading DC Comics for a long time, that this is a very immature, and not as in, it's new and still finding its feet, but very immature as in dumbed down way of writing at DC at the moment with the reboot and everything. It does seem to be very, we will spoon feed you the information because we think our readers are stupid here, sort of thing. This was just really, really good to read. That sounds so ridiculous, actually. It was a wondrous thing to behold, shall we say? I thought I really didn't think I was going to pick up an Avengers #1. I enjoyed reading Uncanny Avengers, but not enough to want to pick it up. Fantastic Four, FF I picked up for Mike Allred's artwork, and I may do a review on that one a bit later on when I get a chance to. I've not really gotten into Avengers since Jeff Jones wrote for the original Avengers series, and after that I'd only sort of dipped in and out of Bendis's Avengers stint. But this was really, really phenomenal. It was. I'm surprised to actually say this myself. I can hear myself say this, and I'm surprised. You've got the core Avengers going off to Mars to do battle with these aliens that have decided that they want to. They've started to terraform Mars, and now they've decided they want to terraform the Earth for an as of yet unknown reason. And to put it bluntly, the Avengers get there and they get their asses handed to them, which usually happens in the first issue of a story arc with the Avengers. The only one that gets sent back to Earth is Captain America, and he knows he has to go back to Mars to be able to save not only the Avengers that are trapped on Mars and prisoners of these nefarious aliens, but also to save the Earth from what these aliens are trying to do to the Earth. So he decides to bring in some more people. It's something that Captain America and Iron Man have been talking about for some time prior to their going to Mars. Iron Man thinks that the only way the Avengers will be of any use to humanity is by making the roster bigger. How bigger, I don't know. But looking on the last page, there's a character. If you've got this comic, if you've got this one, have a look on the last panel, the last splash page panel, where you see all of the new characters, all the new team of the Avengers. There's a guy on the right hand side of the panel as you look at it in a red and black or dark red and black suit. Now I can't remember the character's name. Is it Maskmaster from the Power Pack? Is that him? Because it looks like him. Now I know you've got Lightspeed in the or she was in Avengers Academy. You've got the older brother, whose name I can't remember at the moment. He's in FF. Is the younger brother gonna be an Avenger? And if so, where's the younger sister? What's she gonna turn up in? Like I said, it might not be him, but it looks like him to me. With the actual costume and that. Like I said, this was just a phenomenal read. I was surprised to enjoy this. I like Jonathan Hickman. His writing style is pretty good. It's not the best I've read. Usually, Fantastic Four. What he did in Fantastic Four when he killed off Johnny Storm and then brought him back again, it was obvious what was going to happen. Okay, maybe it's because I've read comics for a long time or not, but it was obvious what was going to happen. But this doesn't seem to be that obvious, and that's what I like about it. if you can pick it up for cheap, I would say definitely pick it up. I mean, this was a fairly quiet week for comics in any case last week, but I'm glad I did. And Jerome Oppener's artwork is, I can say, stunning. Yes, stunning in it. Like I said, it looks like the European artwork you usually see in Heavy Metal magazine, and that's not a bad thing. Other than that, I'm looking forward to issue 2. I can't wait for issue 2 to come out. On a downward turn, we have, and I'm going to review these two both at the same time because I'm not going to dwell on them that much. And quite frankly, they've lost a lot of shine for me. They are Swamp Thing and Animal Man, number 15. I'm going to put them down because I can't pick both of them up at the same time. It's the continuation of the Rock World story. Oh, is it the continuation of the Rock World story? Oh, and it's going on. And on. And on. And on. Sorry. Yes. Rock World. Please, can we have it stop now? What you're basically getting in these two stories are Swamp Thing and Animal Man going on a journey to get to the same place to try and save their respective family members. Swamp Thing is on a quest to find Abigail Arcane. Animal Man is on the quest to see if he can find his daughter, Maxine Baker. And it's just been going on. And I can't wait for it to stop, because then that will give me an excuse to drop these two titles. They were fun when they first started out. The whole premise was new, and considering it was the reboot, and I've not really enjoyed the reboot, these were two comics from the reboot that I did enjoy reading. But now it is just dragging on so much. It's like 15 issues into, well no, 16 issues with the 0 issue. In fact, 17 issues with the 2 annuals. So it's 17 issues and nothing's really happened. And it's, yeah, sorry, I can think of better comics that I could be reading for $2.99. Yeah, I'm trying to think of something good to say about them, and like I said, I'm looking forward to the end of this, which I believe is in issue 17, 18, something like that. Issue 17, which is an epilogue for the Rock World stories. Yeah, no. But now, now we are getting to what I feel from Marvel and DC was possibly the best comic to come out of either of those two companies. And I've got to say, I am surprised again. I didn't know what to expect from this comic when I saw it on the internet. I wasn't going to pick it up, but the actual group of characters that they have in this comic was so eclectic and so crazy that I had to get and see what was inside there. It is Thunderbolts number 1. And it just blew me away. It was one of those comics where I was enjoying turning every single page. Again, spoiler if you haven't read this yet, so I'm going to spoil some of the comic for you if you haven't read it yet. We find General Thunderbolt Ross. He is creating a team. He's going all around the world. He is after some of the craziest, most dysfunctional characters you can think of in the Marvel Universe. You have got Frank Castle, the Punisher. You have got Flash Thompson, who is the new Venom. You've got Elektra, and you have got Deadpool. He is meeting up with each of them individually. He gets to the Punisher by actually capturing the Punisher and trapping him in a warehouse and letting every single mob group in a 200-mile radius know that the Punisher is in a warehouse and he's trapped and he's incapacitated, and if they want to kill him, they're quite happy to come to the warehouse and just fill him full of bullets. He gets to Venom, Flash Thompson. He meets up with him in Middle East, some country in the Middle East, and he tries to get to him by pulling rank, basically. He gets to Elektra when Elektra is assassinating a mafia boss, and he gets to Deadpool basically because Deadpool's insane. It was one of those comics that when you look at it, it shouldn't have worked. The actual characters that are in it should not have worked. But, and I'm going to have to look into comic and see what the guy's name was who wrote it. Sorry. Daniel Way. Hello. Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, Daniel Way just did a fantastic job with this comic. The writing in it was stupendous. It was absolutely brilliant. Like I said, it made me want to turn every single page and read what was going on and how it was going to turn out. You've also got Steve Dillon's artwork in there, and if you've read any Garth Ennis Punisher comics, you will know Steve Dillon's artwork. He possibly is the quintessential Punisher artist, and it was almost like reading. I don't want to say almost like reading a Garth Ennis comic because it wasn't that intense, if you see what I mean. But with Steve Dillon on, his artwork is well suited for a character like the Punisher, I think. Possibly because I've read nearly every single Punisher comic that Steve Dillon has drawn. But he is, as far as I'm concerned, the Punisher artist. And I'm just flicking through here now, and the bit where General Ross is sat in a cafe in France, sat outside a cafe in France, drinking his coffee, talking to Deadpool, whilst Deadpool is killing a load of mimes, is so surreal. And when you think that you go from General Ross talking to the Punisher, who he has got tied up in a warehouse with a load of mafia mob people coming to kill him, you go from that to Deadpool killing mimes in France, and General Ross is just sat there, just talking to him nonchalantly as if it's the most natural thing in the world to do. I think it's got the right balance of humour and suspense in it to make the comic work. And it also made me want to pick up issue 2. I want to see how this team gels together. You've got Elektra, who is an assassin. You have the Punisher, who is in his own right an assassin, but he wants to kill criminals. You've got Deadpool, who is an assassin, who by rights would be somebody that the Punisher would just walk up to and go and shoot in the head. You know, you've got Venom, who for all he's done in his own magazine, in his own comic, he's still quite a naive and green around the girls superhero. You know, and you've also got General Ross, who turns into the Hulk, the Red Hulk. I'm looking forward to seeing how this team gels. It is going to be, I think it's going to be one of those comics where you will read it and you will laugh out loud because of Deadpool, and you will all of a sudden go, I can't believe they did that, because of all the other characters who are in it. It's got to be, like I said, it was a quiet week this week for comics, for me anyway, but this has got to be the best comic that come out this week so far, for me at least. So there you go. There's a review video. Thank you everybody who has subscribed. I have now got well over 200 subscribers, and I am just completely flabbergasted. And I did that whole thing in 26 minutes. That's not too bad. So I shall hurry up and let you all go. Yeah, thank you everybody for subscribing. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. If you know anybody who's into comics, if you know anybody who likes comics, if you know anybody who just has a passing interest in comics and they want to see some strange, slightly overweight Englishman yammer on about them, get them to subscribe. Come on. What's the worst that can happen? You know, they just won't see this channel anymore if they see the first video. But no, seriously, thank you everybody for subscribing. If you want to comment, that's what the comment section down below is for. If you like the video, thumbs it up. If you didn't like the video, then, as I always say, thumbs it down. Feel free to thumbs it down. It's a free world. But if you do thumbs it down, say why you thumbs it down. If you don't agree with me with the comics, please feel free to say so in the comment section down below. Make a video if you want to say, you know, why you didn't agree with my comics, my comic review. And, you know, even if you did agree with my comic review, feel free to make a video without that as well. So I'm going off now because it's about 10 to 12 at night and I'm going to go to bed. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope, you know, you might be interested in picking up one of those comics. And yeah, remember, any comic that you buy, just make sure you enjoy it. Ta-ta for now.